the top running backs of Week 12. Here we go. We got Kyron Williams of the Los Angeles Rams in a winning effort over the Cardinals. He ran the ball 16 times, 143 yards rushing, no touchdowns. Number 2, we had Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers in a winning effort over the Seahawks. 19 carries, 114 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Next up, we had Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders in a loss, had 20 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Next up, we had Rachaad White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 15 carries, 100 yards, rushing, no touchdowns. And last, we have Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers, had 15 carries, 99 yards rushing, and a touchdown. All right, so that was our top running backs for Week 12.
Because the word motherfucker is a noun. It describes a person, place, or thing.
It's the motherfucking pie. Crew members. What's up? What up? What's It's your boy Beanie Man, aka Mr. Headquarters.
Mr. Headquarters taught me.
You already know what it is, man. It's motherfucking picks. NFL Week 13 coming straight at y'all. I'm representing the 504 straight out of New Orleans, the West Bank to be specific. Yo, man, look, it's a rough week. Shout out to all my Saints fans out there, man. It's a rough week right now, man. We're gonna get through this shit. If y'all didn't understand or what's been going on, the Saints lost to the Falcons this week. We lost full control of first place in the NFC South. It's not a good week for Saints fans right now. Pelicans looking all right. They're looking all right, up and down. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get to basketball later on in the season. In a couple of weeks, we will be getting to NBA information and action and news and stuff like that. But for now, make sure y'all tap in with our sports page on IG and TikTok, especially the stuff that we don't get a chance to talk about here on YouTube. That'll be down here in the description below. You might see it on the screen right here somewhere. But anyway, like I said before, the NFL season is full in effect. We in week 13. We got a couple bye teams this week. Teams, there's a lot going on in the NFL right now. So we getting ready to be done with November. We're going into the colder months. We're gonna be seeing a lot more snowy, bad weather, which means bad offensive play is coming. We've already been seeing bad offensive play already this season. According to Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, some of the grumpier old quarterbacks that used to play in the league, talking about how bad the league is. And, we talked about that too here. We talked about how the offensive play by some quarterbacks is just down. And I'll touch on it real quickly here. The reason why NFL quarterbacking play is not up to par is just because of the fact that we had a nice amount of good quarterbacks retired around the same time. And that's just facts. You know what I'm saying? We had Aaron Rodgers is still playing, but he's on his last legs. We had Ben Roethlisberger a few years ago. We had Tom Brady just recently, Drew Brees just recently. So, you also have Phillip Rivers was another one that recently stopped playing not too long ago. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning was a little bit longer ago, but still not too far long ago. So we had a lot of top elite quarterbacks that ended up retiring within a 5 to 6 year span. So, yeah, the NFL needs to reset when it comes to offense. It happens this way sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We seen this back in the early 2000s when it was more of a defensive league around the time when you had Ray Lewis and a lot of those defensive-minded superstars that was out there like Troy Polamalu, Champ Bailey, just to name a few. So, you had a lot of good players out there during that time. And just like right now, you have a lot of good players right now. There's just not a lot of superstar name quarterbacks out there playing right now. Now you have a few that's still currently playing. But it is what it is. It just needs to reset. The NFL needs to build new stars. So with that being said, it's going to take a little bit longer. And we have some emerging stars coming along. We have CJ Stroud. He's injured for the rest of the season right now, but we have Joe Burrow. We have Pat Mahomes. We have Dak Prescott. Regardless of what you think about Dak Prescott, but there is a lot of good quarterbacking play. Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, and Josh Allen, to name a few. So we have a few good up and coming quarterbacks, and let's not throw any shade out there. Russell Wilson is still that dude to a degree. He had some great years, but in the hindsight of everything, we are losing great quarterbacking play. There is a lot of mediocre play. One aspect is injuries. Another aspect is just a lot of guys have retired around the same time. So I look at Andrew Luck, who retired a nice amount of time ago. I mean, potentially, you looking at Andrew Luck could have been a potential future Hall of Famer if he was still playing. So things just typically happen like this in sports. Sometimes you're going to have a changing of the guard. So I don't think it's something to be alarmed about if you're a football fan. I mean, there's still good football being played. If you like good defensive matchups, there's a lot of good defensively. But I think a lot of people are just getting overwhelmed with the bad offensive plays in some aspects. So I think if you look at somebody like over in Washington and you're looking at Sam Howell at quarterback for the Commanders, Sam Howell might potentially be a good quarterback if he is consistent and doesn't turn the ball over as much as he does. So there is a lot of good quarterbacks that's coming through the realms. We can always focus on the bad and always focus on the negative, but I mean that's here and there. We don't have to always do that. There is a lot of good quarterbacking play being played in the NFL right now. We need to just focus on that. Now, with that being said, let's get into these picks from week 12. Your boy was doing good this week. You know what I'm saying? I went 11-5 this week. Went 11-5 this week with my picks. 8-6 the week before that. Let's get into some of these games to where we had some very, very good advice to be given if you betting man. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let's go into that. All right. First thing first, we had the Green Bay Packers. From week 12, we had the Green Bay Packers took on the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions were favored by over a touchdown. I think it was 8.5 that they were favored for this game. Green Bay ended up taking this game on the road in the classic Thursday Thanksgiving game. Packers doing what they do as well as always, beating the Lions on Thanksgiving Day, 29-22. I took that game. I lost that game. The Commanders lost to the Cowboys 10-45. I took that game. The 49ers took care of the Seahawks 31-13. I won that game. The Dolphins beat the Jets 34-13. Took that game. The Saints lost to the Falcons 15-24. Lost that one. The Steelers beat the Bengals on the road 16-10. That's another dub for your boy. The Buccaneers beat the Colts. The Buccaneers lost to the Colts 27-20. No surprise there. The Colts took that game. I won that one. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Houston Texans on the road 24-21. Lost that one. The Patriots were upset. For whatever reason, the Patriots was favored, but they lost that one on the road to New York Giants 10-7. Snooze fest. The Giants won. I won. The Panthers lost to the Titans 17-10. Took that game. The Rams beat the Cardinals 37-14. Goddamn. Took that game. Denver Broncos beat the Browns at home 29-12. Took that game. The Bills lost to the Eagles in overtime on the road in Philadelphia 37-34. Took that game. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 31-17. I took that one. The Ravens beat the Chargers 20-10. And the Chicago Bears won on Monday night 12-10. I took that one over the Vikings. So that is your picks. I went 11-5. Y'all can pick with me too, man. Look, I'm telling y'all, I'm that nigga when it comes to picking these games. All right. Now, this season's been a little bit weird with some of the bad quarterbacking play and a lot of the uncertainty with a lot of players and bad coaching and shit like that. But follow on suit. You can always pick against me. You know what I'm saying? As we put out these posts, make sure you put out your picks and what y'all think, who y'all think gonna win by the week-to-week basis as we lead up to the playoffs and into the eventual Super Bowl. All right. All right. So that was it for the Week 12 games. Let's get into the Week 12 stat leaders that dominated Week 12. All right. First, we're going to go into the top quarterbacks from Week 12. The top quarterbacks from Week 12 was number one, we had Dak Prescott. Went for 22 out of 32, 331 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 142.1 quarterback rating. That was the top quarterback of the week. Number two, Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers went 22 of 32, 268 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 125.5 quarterback rating. Next up, Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs took care of business against the Raiders. He went 27 of 34, 298 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks with 122 passer rating. All right. We also had Matt Stafford came in fourth with the Los Angeles Rams beating the Arizona Cardinals. He went 25 of 33, 229 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 121 passer rating. Next up, we had C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans in a losing effort against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Superstar written all over this guy. He went 26 out of 36 for 304 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 116 passer rating. And that is your top quarterbacks for Week 12. All right. Next up, we have the top running backs for Week 12. Here we go. We got Kyron Williams of the Los Angeles Rams in a winning effort over the Cardinals. He ran the ball 16 times, 143 yards rushing, no touchdowns. Number 2, we had Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers in a winning effort over the Seahawks. 19 carries, 114 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Next up, we had Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders in a loss. Had 20 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Next up, we had Rachaad White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 15 carries, 100 yards, rushing, no touchdowns. And last, we have Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had 15 carries, 99 yards rushing, and a touchdown. All right. So that was our top running backs for Week 12. Next up, we had our top receivers. Our top receivers, we're going to throw in a tight end for the first time. We have Pat Freiermuth from the Pittsburgh Steelers, had 9 catches, 120 yards, no touchdowns. We had Jalen Waddle from the Miami Dolphins, had 8 catches, 114 yards, no touchdowns. Next up, we had Chicago Bears receiver DJ Moore. Carolina kicking themselves right now. DJ Moore, 11 catches, 114 yards receiving and no touchdowns. Next up, the Saints, New Orleans Saints, Chris Olave has 7 catches, 114 yards, no touchdowns. Common thing for the Saints offense. Next up, we had Jalen Hyatt from the New York Giants, had 5 catches, 109 yards receiving. Next up, we also had Nico Collins of the Houston Texans, had 7 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. And we had Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins, had 9 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. All right. All right. That was our top receivers from Week 12. Now, last up, we had our top defenders of Week 12. We had Rashawn Gary of the Green Bay Packers, had 5 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Had a fucking monster game in a win over the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day. Next up, we had the other Josh Allen. Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars had 4 tackles, 2.5 sacks to round up his game against the Houston Texans. Next up, we had Jesse Bates III of the Atlanta Falcons, who had 7 tackles, 1 pick for a touchdown and a forced fumble. Also had a monster game against the New Orleans Saints in a win. Next up, we had Danico Autry of the Tennessee Titans, who had 3 tackles, 2 sacks to finish up his game against the Carolina Panthers. And last, we have Nick Bosa of the San Francisco 49ers, who had 3 tackles and 2 sacks in their win against the Seattle Seahawks. And that is it for your top defenders of Week 12. That is it for Week 12. All right. Now, before we get into Week 13, let's get into these standings. Let's get into these standings real fast. Miami Dolphins are leading the AFC East. They have a 2.5 game lead on the Buffalo Bills. Leading the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who have a 1.5 game lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers at 9-3. We have the AFC South, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are leading their division by 2 over the Colts at 8-3. Big win over the Houston Texans. The AFC West is led by the Kansas City Chiefs by 2 games at 8-3, with the Denver Broncos close behind. All right. Now, in the NFC, we got the NFC East leading Philadelphia Eagles at 10-1, with the Dallas Cowboys 2 games back. We have the NFC North being led by the Detroit Lions, who have a 2.5 game lead over the Minnesota Vikings. We have the NFC South, new division leader at 5-6, tied with the New Orleans Saints at 5-6. Both teams lead their division, but Atlanta has the tiebreaker currently until they play again. Next up, we have the NFC West leading San Francisco 49ers with 2 games up on the Seahawks at 8-3. All right. Now, as far as the wild card, let's get into the wild card look. Now, let's get into the wild card for the AFC. Currently, right now, we have the Denver Broncos with the last spot in the playoff spot right now. If the playoffs started today, we would have the Baltimore Ravens with the bye week, Miami Dolphins at the 2, Kansas City at the 3, the Jaguars 4, Steelers 5, Browns 6, and the Broncos as the last wild card team if they started today. All right, if the NFC started the playoffs today, the number 1 seed would be the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously leading the entire league. The number 2 seed would be the 49ers. The 3 seed would be the Lions. And the 4 seed would be the Atlanta Falcons. The 5th seed would be the Dallas Cowboys. And the last 2 playoff spots will go to the Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings. So that is your current playoff outlook right now going into Week 13. Let's get into these games for Week 13. Before we do, we got to discuss the bye teams. We didn't have any bye teams last week. This week, we got 6, which means we ain't got that many games this week. We got 3 less games than last week. So that means we have the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, the Las Vegas Raiders. Still weird to say that shit. Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants are all on byes this week for Week 13. All right. So with that being said, let's get into these games. All right. All right. So first up, we got the 6-5 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 8-3 Dallas Cowboys at home. The Cowboys are favored by 9. Over under is 46 on the points. Should be a good matchup. Coming up. You have the 2nd-ranked defense in Dallas and the 3rd-ranked offense coming out of Dallas going up against the 11th ranked defense in Seattle and 13th best offense. If you're looking at this on paper, you got to obviously understand why the Cowboys are favored for this game, and understandable. Nobody's debating that. The Seahawks have been fighting to keep pace over there in the NFC West, followed by the 49ers currently who lead their division right now. The Seahawks just haven't been as good as they were as last year. They have Kenneth Walker III is going to be questionable going into this game. Most likely he should play, but it is something to keep of note with the fact that it is a short week for them and they're going to be playing on Thursday. So I'm going to go all right off the bat and go ahead and say I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game. Now, I don't feel confident in that because the Cowboys have yet to face a team that they beat with more than 4 wins this season. If you go into their games that they've beaten, they beat a lot of scrubs. That has been their MO this season. The Cowboys have beaten up on all the easy-ass teams that they went up against so far. They've lost to all the contenders that they supposedly should have beaten so far. And not to mention they've lost to the Cardinals. So are the Cowboys frauds? That's the question I'm asking y'all. Is the Dallas Cowboys contenders or pretenders this year? Are they contenders or are they motherfucking frauds? So let me know in the comment section below, man. Are the Cowboys for real? Are the Cowboys for real? I'm looking at their games right now. They beat up on the Giants. They beat up on the Jets. They lost to the Cardinals. Beat up on the Patriots. Got demolished by the 49ers on the road. Beat the Rams. Beat the Chargers. Lost to the Eagles. Beat the Giants again. Beat up the shitty-ass Panthers. Beat up on the Commanders. Now, looking at their remaining 6 games, they get the Seahawks, who is the winning team, the Eagles again, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, and then they finish up with the Commanders. Now, we will find out. We will find out if the Cowboys are for real. They have their first test is the Seahawks. They should beat the Seahawks. That defense is good enough to beat the Seahawks. Now, we're talking about once you get into the Eagles, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, who is another sketchy team to me, and then they finish off with the Commanders. Their first stretch of games to get to this point has been a cakewalk. Now we're going to really find out whether or not these Cowboys are for real and legit. All right? All right. Next up, we got Sunday's first game. We got the 6-5 Indianapolis Colts taking on the 4-7 Tennessee Titans. The Colts are 1.5 favorites. 2 of the worst offenses in the league right here. The Colts are ranked dead last in offense. The Titans are ranked 27th. The Colts are ranked 25th in defense, while the Titans are dead last in offense, in defense. So we got the dead last offense going against the dead last defense. Should be an interesting game. All right, so looking at injury-wise for this game, Jonathan Taylor is questionable. Treylon Burks, the Tennessee Titans receiver, is questionable. And like I said, Jonathan Taylor for the Colts is questionable as well. I'm expecting a low-scoring affair here. I'm expecting one of 2 things is going to happen. Either it's going to be a really high-scoring game or it's going to be a really, really badly offensive game. I'm going to say that this is probably going to be a high-scoring affair with these 2 bad defenses. They should be able to move the ball left and right on each other. They should. They should. Now, the over-under for this game is 42.5. I'm taking an over for that one. I'm taking an over for that, and I'm picking the Colts to win. It's the AFC South divisional matchup. This is a big game. They need this win to stay relevant and keep pace to make sure that they make the playoffs. I think that they take care of business on the road against Tennessee. I think Tennessee in Indianapolis about what Gardner Minshew has been finally found his team that he can seem like he can lead on, at least for this year. Anthony Richardson will be back next year, but for now, this is Gardner Minshew's team moving forward. I think I like them to not only win this game, but to score big. I'm calling them to win 24-23 Indianapolis. All right. And to go back to the Dallas-Seattle game, I didn't give a score. I called Dallas to win that game, but I'm calling Dallas to win 28-14 Dallas. 28-14 Dallas. All right. Next up, we have the 4-7 Los Angeles Chargers taking on the 2-9 New England Patriots. Two teams battling for nothing at this point. The Chargers are favored by 6. The over-under is 40.5. Not much to really look forward for this game. Both teams probably trying to tank as much as possible, especially the Patriots. A lot of talk around Bill Belichick, whether or not he's going to be back or not. If I were to bet on it, I would say Bill Belichick will be back next season, despite having a very terrible season this year. The Chargers are very, very. If you're a Chargers fan, you're looking at this team and saying, "Damn, what the fuck can we do?" We have all the talent in the world on offense and defense, but yet we still can't even get to 6 wins. Looks like they should get to their 5th win this week. Matter of fact, I'm calling that a lock. I'm calling the Chargers to win this game. It should be a motherfucking lock. I wouldn't bet this game, but I'm still telling you it's a lock that the Chargers will win this game in New England. I don't need to go nothing else further. Chargers will win this game. All right. Next up, the 5-6 Atlanta Falcons taking on the 4-7 New York Jets. The Falcons are favored by 3. The over-under is 34. It's a low over-under. Now, offensively, we got two of the subpar offenses. We got the 31st ranked offense in the Jets at home against the 22nd ranked offense in Atlanta. Now, the Jets have the 3rd ranked defense going up against the 27th ranked Atlanta defense itself. I like this matchup for the standpoint that this could potentially be a major upset here. I think the Jets can definitely upset the Falcons at home here. And matter of fact, I'm calling the upset here. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be riding high from that big win over the Saints. Big matchup. I think that they were mainly looking at getting up for that game more than anything else. I can see the Jets taking this one, stealing this one at home from the Falcons. The Falcons is not a good offensive team. They just ran into another shittier team in the Saints. I'm calling the Jets to win this game at home. The Jets should win. The Jets should win this game. I'm calling it 17-13 Jets win at home off the strength of their defense. All right. Next up, we got the 2-10 Arizona Cardinals taking on the 7-4 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are 5.5 favorites with an over-under of 41. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the typical team that's kind of like the mediocre team. They're getting by just enough by their defense and good head coaching, play calling, and leadership. They're the number 14th ranked offense going up against the number 25th ranked offense in Arizona. I feel like that number is kind of up and not a fair assumption of where Arizona actually really is because of the changing of quarterbacks in midseason. Now, the Steelers' defense is ranked 12th, while the Arizona Cardinals defense is ranked 30th. So This should be a good game for the Pittsburgh Steelers to move the ball a little bit, to give Kenny Pickett a little bit of fucking confidence going into this later weeks in the season. He's struggling with some confidence. He needs some more confidence. He needs a confidence building game. I think this should be that game for them offensively. Now, defensively, we already know what the Pittsburgh Steelers can do when they have people like TJ Watt flying around on the defense, getting sacks. I don't think this should be anything different. I think Kyler Murray might be running around with his fucking head chopped off in this game. I'm calling Pittsburgh to win this game. I'm calling Pittsburgh to take this game at home, and they should cover. I'm calling Pittsburgh to win a close game here, but they still cover 21-14. The game will look closer than it actually is on the scoreboard. 21-14. Pittsburgh takes this game. I'm calling Pittsburgh to win. All right. Next up, we have the 8-3 Miami Dolphins on the road taking on the Washington Commanders at 4-8. The Dolphins are favored in this game. The over-under is 49.5. The Dolphins are favored by 9.5 points, as they should. Right? All right. So the number one ranked offense in the league is the Miami Dolphins, taking on the 21st ranked Washington Commanders offense, which is kind of understandable to a degree because of the fact that they can't run the ball. They are one-dimensional. They can only throw that motherfucking rock. Now, the Dolphins are very underrated on defense. They have the 8th ranked defense in the league going up against the 22nd ranked defense in Washington. I think this should be an easy no-brainer. I think that offense is going to score all fucking day long. They have nobody on that Washington defense that can hang with Tyron Waddle or Tyreek Hill, or can get in the box and keep up with Raheem Mostert. This offense should be clicking from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. Tua Tagovailoa has been healthy for the most part all season long. They've been able to keep him upright. I like the Dolphins to win this game big. Keep an eye on Jalen Waddle in this game. I think Jalen Waddle will definitely put up some numbers in this game. I think Sam Howell will probably put up a little bit, but don't expect a lot from him. They don't have any running game. They're one-dimensional. It's gonna be a rough game for the Commanders if you're a Commanders fan. So I'm picking Miami to win this game 30-14. Big domination game by the Dolphins on the road. All right. Next up, we have the 6-5 Denver Broncos taking on the 6-5 Houston Texans at home. The Texans are favored by this game by 3.5. This is a big game for both teams because they're both fighting for that wild card spot. Houston still has potentially hopes to win their division, as well as Denver, who has a small glimpse of hope. They did beat the Kansas City Chiefs early in the year. If they beat them again, then you would definitely can say that they have a legitimate chance to make that chance to win their division. Now, with that being said, let's look into this game a little deeper beyond the numbers. Houston has a 7th ranked offense against the Broncos' 16th ranked offense. Houston has a 16th ranked defense against the Broncos' 24th ranked defense. So this is an interesting game from the standpoint that Houston has a lot of firepower on their offense. Now, Denver has been streaking the last few weeks. I think they're on their 5-game win streak, something like that. Sean Payton has really gotten a way to get this team back in the winning mode. The offense has been up and down lately. Last week, I think they didn't even have 200 yards passing. Russell has been consistent from what he's been putting out as far as being able to score touchdowns here and there, not turning the ball over as much. They ain't been getting a ton of groundage and passing yards, but they just been doing just enough to get by. I think that stops this week. I think Houston takes this game. This is a big game. I would also, I think it's a notable game of the week game. Notable game. I wouldn't call it a game of the week. Maybe looking at the rest of these games, I actually might have to say it might actually be the game of the week. Looking at the rest of these games, yeah, no, I take that back. It's close. It's a close second. It's a close second. This is definitely a watchable game. Watch this game. It should be a good, entertaining game. It's an early game, so you'll be able to chance to watch it if you're in the region for it. Check out this game. I'm calling Houston to win this game, though. I'm calling Houston to win 24-21 at home over the Denver Broncos. Next up, our first afternoon game, we got the Carolina Panthers at 1-10. Ugh. Going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4-7. Another shitty team, but still can win the division potentially. The Bucs are 5.5 favorites in this game. I like the Buccaneers in this game. I don't think it's any question. Now, we got to admit to the fact that Frank Reich was fired by the Carolina Panthers midseason, right after their loss this past week. Frank Reich fired last year in November. Fast forward a year later, fired again. Dude making bank right now because he was owed money from his previous head coaching job, and now he's getting fired from the Carolina job and now owed money over there as well. So if you're Frank Reich, it's not all too bad. You know what I'm saying? The millions will keep you happy at the end of the day. I think he's going to be getting paid until the year 2026 or something like that. Millions of dollars. So we have the Bucs, the 18th ranked offense and their 28th ranked defense going up against the 30th ranked offense in Carolina and their 18th ranked defense. I don't care for either one of these teams. It's a shitty NFC South division. A 5-6 team is leading the division in week 13. And Tampa Bay is on that game behind at 4-7. They should win this game easily. I don't give a shit about the new head coach, interim head coach should win and inspire the team. I don't think so. I think the Carolina is just that damn bad. I think they're in tank mode on top of that. So I'm calling Tampa Bay to win this game, not very competitively, 17-13. 17-13. When I say not competitive, I'm talking about the score. But the Bucs will win this game 17-13 at home. All right. Next up, the game of the week. We got the San Francisco 49ers at 8-3 going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, the best leading 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who came off a big overtime win over the Buffalo Bills last week. The 49ers are favored, though, at home. The opening line is the 49ers are favored by 3. The over-under is 46.5. Interesting. The 49ers have the number 1 ranked defense, the number 4 ranked offense, going up against Philly's 9th ranked defense, number 5 ranked offense. I think this is potentially an NFC championship game preview. I think whoever wins this game is probably going to end up having home field advantage, potentially. Yeah, I think even if Philly loses this game, they'll still have the lead in the NFC. I don't think they will want to lose this game just yet and still feel comfortable with that first round bye in hand, because they still got to play Dallas. They still got to play some other good teams coming up in the last 6 games of the season. So with that being said, I don't think there's any major injuries for this game either. You got Dallas Goedert. Philly's tight end is questionable for this game, but he should be able to play according to the information here. You just need all hands on deck for this game. You got Brock Purdy against Jalen Hurts. You got Deebo Samuel against A.J. Brown. DeAndre Swift against Christian McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk against Julio Jones and Devontae Smith and Juan Jennings. Greg Kittles. I got to give the slight advantage to San Francisco. I see why they have them favored. I see why they're favored in this game. With that being said, I'm calling another close game. Philly lucking up again. We're having a big game like this at home again. I'm calling Philly to win this game, though. We'll win this game somehow and upset the 49ers. I'm calling it 24-23 Philly at home in a close-ass game. Close. I'm calling Philly to win this game by 1 point. 24-23 Philly at home over the San Francisco 49ers. All right? All right. Next up, we got the last late Sunday afternoon game of Week 13. We got the 7-4 Cleveland Browns taking on the 5-6. I was about to say St. Louis. Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by 3.5. The Rams are favored by 3.5. Damn, the Browns this is so fucked up for the Browns, man. They had a 7-3 team going into week 12. 7-3. After starting the season slow as fuck, to only get to week 12 to lose your top star quarterback for the year. And now it looks like this is a wash season. Amari Cooper is questionable for this game. It's the only real notable injury outside of Joe Burrow, who's not going to be playing for the rest of the year. Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be ready against Matt Stafford and company, who have a great receiving core. Now we have the 9th-ranked offense and the Rams going up against the 28th-ranked Browns offense. Now, the Browns have a hell of a defense, though. The 4th-ranked defense going up against the 20th-ranked defense in the Rams. So you got a high-powered offense against a high-powered defense. Which one will give? The Rams are at home. I'm going to be inclined to say that this Rams offense will not look great, but I think they will do enough to win this game because of the fact that the Browns defense is good, and they probably will get after Matt Stafford. We've seen when Matt Stafford is being chased around, he tends to make bad decisions sometimes. But on the other side of the spectrum, you have a non-existent offense in Cleveland, an unproven quarterback, a young quarterback, a shaky offensive line, and an okay running back duo. So I'm calling the Rams to win this game. I'm not confident in that one. This is the only game I'm not really confident in picking in, but I'm saying that the Rams should win this game at home against the Browns, the injury-led Cleveland Browns. It sucks to be a Browns fan. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm gonna say that the Rams should win this game. The Rams should win this game 20-19. Rams take care of business in a close game. All right. Next up, Sunday Night Football. We got the 8-3 Kansas City Chiefs against the 5-6 Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. The Packers are home underdogs again. The Chiefs are favored by 6.5. Classic matchup. Packers Chiefs. The over-under is 42.5. The Chiefs coming off a victory over the Raiders last week. They're looking to take care of business and continue their way to try to get this number 1 seed in their division, in their conference. I like the Chiefs in this game here. They have the number 6 ranked offense going up against the 15th ranked offense in Green Bay. Green Bay's been playing a lot better. They've been playing a lot better. This is the 10th ranked defense in Kansas City against the 14th ranked defense in Green Bay. Green Bay is kind of like the NFC version of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what I mean by that is that they have solid defense, solid defense, okay offense with a young quarterback. is still trying to prove themselves and still trying to find their true identity of what this team is really looking like. They have decent leadership, really good leadership is why they're even in a lot of these games that they've been playing. I would even say that you could argue that the Packers should be 4-7 because, I ain't going to go back to that Saints win that they had way back early in the season. But, here nor there. But whatever. I'm calling the Chiefs to win this game, though, at home. I mean, on the road. The Chiefs to win this game in Lambeau Field. Classic rivalry game. They've had a lot of classic matchups over the history of the Chiefs and Packers. But I'm calling the Chiefs to win this matchup here in Week 13. I'm calling the Chiefs to win this game. I think it should be an interesting and entertaining game for the most part. But I'm saying that the Chiefs should win 28-20 on the road in Lambeau Field. The Chiefs will take care of business. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the rest of them boys take this game. All right. Monday Night Football. We got the 5-6 Cincinnati Bengals taking on. We got the 5-6 Cincinnati Bengals taking on the 8-3 Jacksonville Jaguars. We got the 11th ranked offense in the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the 29th ranked Bengals offense. While the Jaguars have the 17th ranked defense, the Bengals have the 23rd ranked defense. So on top of the fact that we have no Joe Burrow in this game, gone for the season, in comes Jake Browning once again against Trevor Lawrence. Underachieving season for Trevor Lawrence, but still a very good team, very good offense actually because of Travis Etienne at running back. But as far as like Trevor Lawrence himself has been kind of down this year. Calvin Ridley has been a major pickup trade for them in the offseason, this past offseason. One of the most underrated trades that doesn't get talked about that enough. Now, T. Higgins, again, is questionable. This week has been a common trend for him the last month and a half. But I don't think it's going to matter here. I think Jacksonville should win this game easily. Jacksonville will take care of business at home. I think they should win this game and feast on these bad teams like they've been doing all season long. Jacksonville will win this game. They will take this game and pad their season going into the AFC South. I mean, hey, they keep fucking around. These teams keep fucking around. Jacksonville could potentially be the number one seed in the AFC. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could be a potential reality if the rest of these teams don't start settling in and taking care of these teams that they got in front of them. All right. So I'm calling Jacksonville to win this game. 24-17 at home for Jacksonville, and they win this game. All right. Next up, we got the last Sunday afternoon game. We got the Cleveland Browns, the 7-4 Cleveland Browns taking on the 5-6 Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by 3.5. Over under is 39.5. We have the number 9th ranked offense in the Rams against the 28th ranked offense in the Browns. The 4th ranked defense for the Browns going up against the 20th ranked Rams defense. So this should be an interesting matchup. A top 10 offense going up against a top 5 defense. I like the Browns slightly. I would love it even more if they had Deshaun Watson, who is out for the season. But obviously Dorian Thompson Robinson is their quarterback moving forward currently against Matt Stafford on the Los Angeles Rams side. So the Rams have a really good offensive offense. Primarily, their receivers are really damn good, and Cooper Kupp and rookie receiver sensation Puka Nacua, and you also got Kyron Williams, who had a nice rushing week last week, over 100 yards rushing last week. Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt are leading the pack for the Cleveland Browns running attack. Amari Cooper is questionable for this game, so I'm not certain about this Browns offense moving into this week. So I'm going to go ahead and reluctantly call the Rams to win this game, only based off of what I've seen in production and based off of who they don't have in Cleveland any longer moving forward. Now, Cleveland has won games without Deshaun Watson. but I don't think that's going to work long term for them going into the playoffs. They currently are a playoff team right now, but I don't see them winning this game. I see now I will say this, that defense has kept them in a lot of games, but I'm calling the Rams to win this game on at home, win this game 24 21. Rams take care of business. All right. Next up, New Orleans Saints are taking on the Detroit Lions. The New Orleans Saints at home against the Detroit Lions. The 5-6 New Orleans Saints at home against the 8-3 Detroit Lions. Now, I will say this. Detroit has not beaten a lot of teams. They've only beaten one team with a winning record, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1. Now, this is favorable for the Lions because the Saints are on a winning record team. So you got Derek Broken Carr, Alvin Kamara, A.T. Perry, Juwan Johnson, no Michael Thomas, he's on IR, no Marshawn Lattimore on IR. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are both questionable for this game. You got Jared Goff on the other side of the spectrum, David Montgomery, and St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown at receiver, who has been having a great monster season this year at receiver. So I don't feel comfortable about this game here for the Saints. They are 4.5 underdogs at home, 45.5 over under for this game. The Saints have the 19th ranked offense going against the 10th ranked offense in Detroit. They have the 7th ranked defense going up against the 21st ranked defense in Detroit. Now, with that rating, the Saints signed Jason Pierre-Paul last week and then left him on the practice squad for the Miami Dolphins to pick him up and sign him the week after that. Like, what the fuck? Like, I think the writing is on the wall. If you are a fan, if you are a team, a player that's trying to contend, you're not joining the Saints at this point. Everything looks dysfunctional over there. Dennis Allen doesn't look like he has a clue. Derek Carr looks pissed off all the time. Alvin Kamara looks checked out. And at the end of the day, we got Jameis Winston to give us the blow-by-blow to at least make us feel good in some kind of way. And it feels weird to be a Saints fan right now. So if you're a Lions fan, I mean, you got to be riding high right now. I mean, you had the Vikings lose last week, even though y'all lost as well. You have a good opportunity to gain ground, even though you lost against the Packers, to gain ground on the NFC North and get a tight hold grip on it. Because for one, the Vikings are at 500 at 6-6. You're at 8-3. You have a nice little cushion. If you're the Saints in this game, you should have some kind of sense of urgency. But I just don't see it now. They already had the talent beforehand. Now majority of that talent is hurt. I don't know how you can move forward with this team currently and still win this game. Your top three receivers are hurt. One is definitely not playing. The other two are questionable. Don't look good, man. It don't look good. I'm not gonna drag this out for too long. We already know what it is. If you're a Saints fan, you're already ready to call for the immediate firing of Dennis Allen. But at this point, you gotta just let him finish the season. If I'm a Saints fan, honestly, let that motherfucker finish the season. It might get us a better draft pick. But once the season's over with, if you don't get Derek Carr the fuck out of here, if you don't get Dennis Allen the fuck out of here, Pete Carmichael the fuck out of here, I can understand keeping Derek Carr past this season, but I really don't see that. I don't really see the point in doing that. But I can understand if the next coach comes in and says, you know what, I want to give Derek Carr a chance. All right, whatever. They're paying him a lot of fucking money. You kind of almost at the point that you got to almost bring him back next season, unless you can find a trade partner that'll take him off your hands and give you some assets back that'll make you feel like you're rebuilding, because this needs to be a big rebuild. I hate to see Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. I hate to see all these players, Cam Jordan, all in these predicaments. The Honey Badger, Marshawn Lattimore. There's so many good players on this team that just I would love to see them win, and they're not going to win on this team this year. It just ain't going to happen. So with that being said, I'm calling Detroit to win this game. I know the first time I'm calling the Saints to lose a game officially. I'm calling Detroit to win this game 27-20 on the road. It hurts me to say that. The Lions will win this game. It hurts. It hurts really bad. Who that at the end of the day, but the Saints will not win this game. You can book that. And that's a motherfucking lie. All right, that's it. That's it for the picks for week 13, man. Let's go over real quickly of everybody who I think is going to win for week 13. Remember, we went 11-5 for week 12. So I'm calling these games real fast, real quickly. The Chargers will beat the Patriots. The Jets will beat the Falcons. The Steelers will beat the Cardinals. The Dolphins will beat the Commanders. The Texans will beat the Broncos. The Bucks will beat the Panthers. The Eagles in the game of the week will beat the 49ers. The Rams will beat the Browns. Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs will beat the Packers on the road. The Jaguars, Monday Night Football, will beat the Bengals at home. And lastly, as a Saints fan, the Saints, unfortunately, sadly, will lose to the Lions at home. That is our week 13 picks. Make y'all picks down in the comment section below, man. Bet against us. Let us know what y'all think. With that being said, man, that's all the time I got for this week. You already know what it is. Motherfucking picks. Make sure y'all get at us on TikTok and IG. Motherfucking Sports Pod. Make sure y'all get at us. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button if you're still watching. Fuck with your boy. Fuck with the motherfucking podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow us on all our platforms. And make sure you stay tuned and locked in for each and every pick that we do each week. We got a lot of heat coming through, man. And we appreciate all our new subscribers. Shout out to y'all. We appreciate the support. All right. With that being said, man, you already know what it is. I am your host, Beanie Man, a.k.a. Mr. Headquarters.
Mr. Headquarters taught me.
You already know what it is. Motherfucking picks, week 13. It's the motherfucking pie.